Alright guys, we're back with the ASH26, ASH26 here, 2.6 meter by CMPro. Where we left off, we were getting ready to pull this wire through, and we realized, well, we've got to do a control rod at some point too. So the only thing I'm debating about is, I kind of want these things to be on opposite sides, and where we actually left off was we were doing this control arm, which is going to go in place of that thing there. So obviously our positions can end up being over here, but this is not long enough to reach all the way to the back. So the second thing we have to figure out is we have to get our controls figured out on the actual rudder itself. And that can be a bit challenging as well. I want to get this wire so it's not getting rested on by the copper. Okay, so one thing I got to figure out if this is going to be the right size. So we're going to go ahead and pop that open. My guess is this is probably not going to be the right size. You could probably force it in there if you wanted to. So we'll just take this and we're going to ream out each of the holes just a little bit. I don't want the maximum authority. We don't want the maximum authority on this, so we'll want it on the insidemost hole. Okay, so that's pretty stiff still, so I need to probably open up that hole a little bit more yet. So we'll pop this out. I'm just basically using that this beam to brace the tip of the drill bit, and then I can wobble this to get my opening. And it's going to be a very small in-between step. That's a 1/16 of an inch bit. So you don't need a lot of change in size. Just a little. But we need a little more than what we did. Okay, so I'll show you again, now that you know what I was doing. Pulling on it, pushing down, pulling up. Kind of the same as wiggling it like this, but it's a little bit more controlled. And we can just go ahead and try it again. We're not looking for just, like completely, no resistance whatsoever, but I mean, that's plenty good. That feels pretty good. You don't want any play on it, or as little play as you can get away with. So that's great. Okay, cool. So now we need to go ahead and we'll just leave that where it is. We can go ahead and break this other half off. Okay, and that's going to be our mounting plate for the other side. That was already pretty clean. That's pretty good stuff right there. Take this blade, take the back side of the blade. Get a nice smooth finish on there. Okay, so obviously that's going to give us a significant amount of play, but we may bind upon ourselves, so we'll have to be watching for that. Now this side we got to do the same thing too. We got that little tab we want to cut off. That's assuming we even end up having to deal with it. Okay, so we'll get our blade here. Rest it down on the table. Nice clean cut. Okay, so now if we were to feed a screw through here, the screw's going to have to be long enough to reach through this rudder, which is pretty significant size. And obviously this part's going to go into the fuse, but we're going to shorten it once we figure out how long we need it. And but something we need to consider is, obviously, you know, are we going to be able to make our angle getting out of there? Okay, so we're just going to, we could by rights do this on either side, but because the rudder servo is now going to be on that side over there, we want the control arm over here, so it's got the straightest shot through. I sort of hate to do it, but I'm thinking I'm probably just going to have to pull that wire through. Oh man, it kills me to do it right now though. I'm just going to pull this through a little bit like this. See if I can get that back, because it's kind of getting in my way now. Okay, we'll just tip that a little bit. Really good about getting this junk spread out. Makes it hard to work. Okay, lift that wire up. Feed this through the housing. Oh, for goodness sakes, what am I running into now? It's like I can't fit it through somewhere. Oh, there it goes finally. Okay, so see how I'm rubbing along there with that thread? That's what I was afraid was going to happen. So I'll just need to make sure. I'll have to go out a little further on this just so I can get enough movement, clearance. I can't go to the most inside hole. I'll have to go a little bit further. Now remember, this is just a dry fit process right now. We're just trying to figure out where things need to end up to get proper clearances and all that good stuff. Okay, so that's a little bit tight. We'll adjust that later if necessary. Now obviously we want this to be right. See, what's happening is that threaded area is actually running into stuff now. So that's a problem. We're going to have to deal with it right now. We can't have that plastic running into this as it articulates back and forth either. That would be devastating to the action. So I got to figure this out real quick. So let's just get that through. I think now might be a good time to go ahead and feed this through to the other side, because I'm going to accidentally end up cutting something. So I'm going to just take this wire, grab it with the forceps, try to get it through. Don't want to lose control of it though, so we have to dig it out of there. Grab it on the other side, pull it out the other side. Doesn't matter which side it's on, it's just parked there for now. It's not going to stay there. And truthfully, it doesn't matter which side this is on either, but it just happens to be on the wrong side right now. Not that big a deal, but it is kind of annoying. So let's do some more testing here. See what I'm talking about, guys? It's totally running into that with the threads. That sucks. That's not cool at all. So the only way I know for sure to fix that would be to somehow, gotta get this over here out of the way, would be to somehow twist this out. I'm going to grab it down here in case I mar the finish on the part. I don't want this to have any resistance. So let's unscrew this. And we got to be careful. I don't know if I can go in all the way. Let's see if we can. It'd be helpful to know. I think we can. Some of these bottom out though. I think this might be the style the bottom's out. No, see, it'll protrude through the top. See what I'm talking about, guys? It's allowed to come through the top. So we can get a little bit more. See, because you kind of want to split the difference on your adjustment if you can. because you never know which side you're going to need it to go. Whether it's going to need to be longer or it's going to need to be shorter. So we can see that we could cut this thread in half and we would have enough adjustment. With the understanding that if we get all done and we still have threads exposed, we're probably going to have to take CA and build it up on there to make a smooth transition to the smooth portion of the pipe. And so that's just something we'll have to keep in mind. Okay, so we're going to twist this out. In fact, I'm going to do it the easy way. I'm going to grab the chuck on my drill, just backing it off. Okay, so now it's out. Let's leave that there. Throw some safety glasses on. I got to cut this down now. I want to keep that part just in case it's useful for something else here. So let's throw that in there. Like I'm going to remember it's in there. Okay. So I got mighty toasty there while I was doing that. So I have to remember that for next time so I don't get too excited and try to do it while it's all attached to the plastic stuff. So we're going to put this back in the chuck, and we'll go ahead and try to thread it back in. Look at that, guys. Fancy. The only thing I don't like about what I did there is that I brought it in too far. I want to kind of split the difference of what we got. Got to get that chuck pretty tight to do it. Okay, so we're going to see if we run into a problem now binding again. It's amazing how little pressure it takes. I've already got grooves in there now. But it's alright because that part's not going to be attached anyway. It's going to be attached way down here to the carbon fiber rod. Unless I change my mind. I'm pretty good at that. Changing my mind. Okay guys, you see what I'm talking about? Man, that's just crazy. It's denting this plywood. That's crazy. I wouldn't have expected that. Okay, so I gotta think for a second. Why are we having so much binding there? I think we just need to bend this a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I don't grab it with the teeth. I'm going to grab it down here a little bit. Give it a little teeny bend, and then another little teeny bend. And what that's going to do is hopefully take it away from the edge of the frame. Oh, it feels tons better already. But of course I need that bend to be even deeper in. So we're just going to take and support this right on the plastic. Well, I got to grab it with the pincers. Give it a little twist. Now I'm going to grab it with the smooth portion. Square it up. We'll see if we got enough then. See how that's just got that little wiggle in it? I hate to put wiggles in these because that can take some of the strength out, but the stuff is surprisingly light for being metallic. Okay, so you see that, guys? So as we relax this in, we're still hitting. So we need to actually bend it quite a bit sharper right at the end. So I'm basically just bending it right at the part where it starts threading. Then I'm going to take this flat portion and I'm going to change the angle a little bit. See how that looks? So that's going to get us out of the fuselage. We might need to go a little more extreme still yet. Can't believe how much I'm having to screw with this. I figured this would be like super easy. Nothing's been easy on this plane. Who am I kidding? You see what I'm talking about? I may have to open that up, guys. Because I can't have it binding on one side. Because I would have freedom here, but I won't have freedom there. So that's not acceptable. I gotta think for a second. The other thing I could do is I could put the hole back further. But then that's no different than basically mounting this back further onto the wing. But ideally you want this right at the hinge point. You literally want this to line up with the hinge. So you get equal play both directions. Okay, I have another idea. See how I got this little zigzag in there? I'm going to square this back up. Okay? I'm just going to leave the zig. I gotta try this. I don't think that's gonna do enough. I think we tried that at the beginning. Yeah. Okay, let's try that. And just leave it in there. This makes me nervous when I got a wire going through there. Oh, that thing spun on me. There we go. So, alright, this is maybe looking better. Not sure yet. I'm going to have to probably fiddle with this some more. But what I could do is I could pull that wire through. Because I don't think it's going to help. I'm just going to have to send this back up through. This is really annoying having that thing in the way all the time. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just stick this through here. And just tie a quick little knot. Just enough to keep it from getting yanked out on accident if I would slip by it. It's not like a permanent thing. Okay, so now this wire can be detached here. That was really helpful though, having that big long piece of wire. Okay. Ready for the next time I need it. So now this wire can go through to the other side now, because we know for sure that the rudder's gonna, the linkage is gonna escape from this side. I just don't want to drop it. There it goes. Wonderful. Okay, so now that can be kind of not hopefully in the way. Gosh, I keep hitting stuff with my helmet. My camera helmet. Okay, so let's get back in here with this. See, now what I'm trying to do is just figure out if there's something I'm missing here. Because really, right now this is not making me think this is going to work very good. Maybe this type of actuation is just not right. Might have to go to a different style here, which I hadn't anticipated on this plane, but There's a lot of things I hadn't anticipated on this plane. Just added to the long list. These are Hobby King product. They're not particularly super duper high quality, but the shape might be a little better. Let's see how they fit up with this DeBro thing. Yeah, it fits perfect, of course. Let's see how the angles work out. Oh, I've got that in backward. Oh, this one's got this mark on here. I don't really want to have to fight that later. This one does not have a mark on it. So we'll just go into that hole. Not that that's for sure going to be the end game for us or anything. Okay, so now that's in. Okay, so same problem we had with the other ones. It's such a similar design, I just doubt that they're going to be that different, really. Let's go out to the middle hole. You see what's happening though, guys? I'm just running into the stupid frame of the plane itself. And that is not cool at all. So let's just try. Let's try something a little different. Let's try just making a little sweep on here to get it out of the plane. I just don't think that's going to work because we're going to run into itself. Because remember, this isn't flat, it's got that weird shape to it, okay? See, that's really bad now because I hit almost right away. This is a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, this particular step. I figured this would be a pretty straightforward part. So, now what's the next move? Let's try this angle. See, and once we get this done, then we have another project to work on, and that is to attach this to the other end. It's going to be a task in and of itself. Okay, so let's suppose we just have to come back here and do it. It's not going to give us as much articulation. So that sucks. Because you see what's happening though, is that this hinge is just so dang far out there, which just makes it really difficult. Because see, we got so much lateral movement like that. Let's go back to the middle and see how we look. We can definitely make it move. We just can't make it move as much as I want. Let's go all the way to the outside and see how bad it gets. That is so annoying. So I'm going to have to open that up like way long to get enough freedom to do a full hinge movement, you know. That will allow me some flexibility though. And the flexibility will be helpful, very helpful. Just curious if I go out further like that, how that's going to impact things. It does mean once you start bending it like that though, it gets more challenging for other factors. Namely the fact that you have to then try to keep that square later when you're attaching it to your carbon fiber. It's a lot harder to keep that from spinning like this. Okay, so the other option, of course, is to just say screw it and just go with a piece of bent metal, which would simplify things a little bit. Not completely, but a little bit. For sure it would. Okay, so that was what felt like an exercise in complete futility. So I'm really torn here on what's the best approach. I would just as soon use this heavier duty one. But if it's not gonna line up any better. And we do have a pretty good idea that no matter what we do, we're going to end up with a hinge material like this. Just for grins and giggles, I wonder if I could just take the other half of this thing, like one of these tabs, and just say screw it and cut a slot in the rudder and then make this thing stick out of it instead of having that, because then I could cut it in right at the base. That's a lot of commitment to find out it's not going to work. Okay, I'm going to figure this out, guys. I'm going to pause it, I'll come right back. Alright guys, I'm going to do something that seems very counterintuitive right here. But sometimes I struggle with making commitments on these models. And I end up waffling a lot because it's really not necessary. I'm going to glue this thing on. And I'm going to glue it in such a way that it, you know, worst case scenario, I could probably get it off of there without too much trouble. Remember, that's monocoat, so it'll come off of there. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. I missed my target by just a little bit. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to be allowed to move where it needs to move, and then I can drill holes and add the screws at my convenience. It's really challenging because that sweep that we're getting, that's what's killing me. Remember, that's just hypothetically a temporary solution, because it's just basically going to get me to where I can see what type of sweep issue we're going to have. Because without having it in the right position, you just really don't know. It's just a crapshoot. Okay, so now we're going to move on from there and pause it, and I'll come back after I get the glue put away. Okay, so just feeding this in here. basically what I'm doing is I'm just really validating my concern more than anything. And once I validate it, then I can start figuring out how I want to deal with it. Okay, so you see I'm running into the threads. I grabbed a new rod just because I thought maybe I bent the other one enough that I don't want to run into problems as a result. So I've got new problems to deal with. Back to the way we had before. Okay, so you see exactly what I'm dealing with now. I'm getting pressure there. It's wanting to spring it back out. I'm going to get my other rod back. Alright, I'm getting thinking outside the box here. This is one of those small push rod kits, and I just want to see if I would be able to get away with that. And I'd be thrilled if I could. Again, this is pretty weak, but still. See, it's still wanting to bind on something, but that's a heck of a lot better than what we had before. It's definitely allowed to move. Now, is it going to move under load? That's the question of the day. Alright, so we got to switch videos here. We'll come back with more on the ASH26. Thanks for watching, guys.